Hey guys, it is Saturday, September 18th. It's the opener of youth season here in Iowa, and something Bella and I have been looking forward to for many weeks. We got a pretty hot day. It's about 90 degrees with an east-southeast wind, and that led us to driving up to this new little 28-acre piece out by the River Bottom farm that I bought this year. It's a small piece, and we put a 2-acre turnip plot back in August, and then it came up a little bit spotty, and so we came and overseeded some rye and oats and winter wheat, and that's coming up pretty nice. I've got a camera on this food plot, and it's been showing pretty good activity despite the warmer temperatures. There's one buck we have in mind out here. It's just a really nice 10. He's got a split G3 on the right side, and we actually filmed him in this big bottom bean field in velvet season this year. And he's been active. He's actually been right here 10 feet in front of the blind one evening, and then he's been on some of these other scrape cameras in the middle of the night. So the warmer conditions, I expect the movement to be late, but with any luck we'll get one out in front of us. Bella's really got her heart set on shooting Patient X out at the home farm. That's the deer that we have a few years of history with. He's got a big sinus tumor. She's been wanting to get him out of there. We just don't have the right wind for that, so that'll be something we're looking forward to later in the week if we don't have success out here this weekend. We've actually got a lot of guys out tonight. Caleb and Collins and Max all have youth hunters out. Hopefully between the four of us we can have some success tonight. You know, youth season is such an important time of year to be able to take youth hunters out or just young people out and introduce them to the sport of hunting. We're talking about stuff all the time. She's always asking questions, and I think it's great to obviously be able to introduce new hunters to the sport. For those of you that might not have kids or nieces or nephews, try to find a kid and take them out, because you never know who's going to be hooked for life. And I think it's important for the sport of hunting to continue to foster that future generation. You know, for me personally, it's quickly became, over the last few years, my favorite time of deer season is to be able to take the kids out, whether that's in youth season or late muzzleloader. I've been ate up with hunting since I was about 5 years old, and my wife really enjoys it too, and over the years we just keep trying to take the kids out and show them that it's a really fun, family-friendly activity. You know, last year we had a lot of success with the crossbow during late muzzy. The girls have been a little nervous to shoot guns, and Bella did shoot a couple deer a few years back with the muzzleloader. That ended up being a little bit too much of a gun for her, so we took a few years off. She had great success this past spring with the 20 gauge turkey hunting, and so we got the confidence built back up, and we got a 350 Legend, a compact 350 Legend that we have out with us tonight. She's been shooting every night this week, and she's dialed in, and we're really excited to hopefully get a big buck in front of us. Unfortunately here in Iowa we can't use a crossbow in youth season. You've got to use a gun or a bow, whether that be a muzzleloader or a shotgun or one of these straight-walled cartridge rifles. And so this 350 Legend is really a great gun, doesn't kick too much, and it's easy, it fits her really well, and is easy to shoot. So we're gonna sit back and relax. We have about 2 hours till dark. Why don't we jump around to the other guys and check out their setups and hear about the bucks they're targeting.
Welcome back, guys. It is September 18th, opening day of youth season here in Iowa. This afternoon we're actually back on the same farm that Donovan had success on opening day last year. We're on the other side of the farm this year. This side has beans, that side has corn, but I've been running cameras on this farm since July, and I've been getting mainly 5 bucks in here, 5 mature deer, but 2 of them have been most consistent. 2 really nice 9-pointers, a super big bodied 9, and then a nice 9 that really curls around. And the one that curls around is one that I think we're going to get a shot at. Both these bucks have been bedding over here to the south. There's a couple of draws and some standing corn to the south. They transition at night up here into these this bean field that we're sitting over, and they come right through this little gap. I got a camera on him, and he's been coming through there about every night in the last week, and if he isn't there one night, he's always there the second. It's exciting. It's opening day. I know Donovan's jacked up. I can't wait. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Should be fun.
Man, you guys, it seems like we've been waiting for this day for quite a while now. Today actually marks the opener for Iowa's youth season. And I just want to talk a little bit about the background of this hunt before we go out tonight. You know, diving into late season last year, one of my goals was to actually get my cousin Jack a deer. And one of the first deer that we set out was a deer that we had named Lucky. At the time, I didn't have a lot of trail cam photos of the deer that year. So we were kind of going in blind, but we knew where the deer was living. And once we sat down in the blind, we were just looking through photos, and I actually noticed that I had a photo of this deer as a 3-year-old the year before. And we decided that this deer was for sure for her. So diving into May of this summer, I put cameras in there with hopes that this deer was a homebody living on this farm. And if you guys can recall, I did a segment earlier this summer about how small this farm is and how all these farms that I hunt are relatively small in size. And anyways, I went out and put cameras out for him, and right away that buck showed up. Bucky did. And at first we didn't know what he was going to blow up into, and as you guys can tell through the photos, he blew up into an absolute beast. Just here recently this week, I put a lot of time into scouting as well, and we filmed him 2 nights ago in the same exact spot that we filmed him in July. Hopefully we get an opportunity with this deer tonight, but I can't wait to bring this story to you guys, and Jack's gonna take it the rest of the way from here on out. So we're gonna get things sighted in, and we'll see you guys out there here this evening.
Well, out here today where the farm where Lucky's at, it's real hot out today. Going after Lucky today, and hopefully we don't die from heat stroke out here, but it'll be a good day today. Hopefully we'll go get him. Go deer hunting.
There you go. About 6:45, and the deer are just starting to move. We've got about 45 minutes left. We've got 2 little bucks and a doe that just came out of the bedding area right up the mowed trail to the food plot. So it's a little bit earlier than I thought it would be tonight, but the temperature's dropped about 7-8 degrees since we've got out here, so it's cooling off nicely. Hopefully the parade continues and that big one will show up. I think the deer are starting to move for the other guys too, so hopefully one of us can get a deer down. The little fawn's watching them. He's like, what's going on?
Well guys, it is 6:45, got about an hour left. Have not seen anything yet, but that didn't surprise me at all with how warm the temps are. We were expecting these deer to move probably the last half hour, but honestly I wouldn't be surprised if they move any time from here till close. So wind really died down, it's gotten pretty still, so a lot of times that isn't great for deer movement, but hopefully we can defy those odds tonight and this buck will step out.
guys. It's about, 8 o'clock now. We elected to get out about 10 minutes early before shooting time just so we could see the field and make sure we got out clean, make sure we didn't spook any deer. You know, it was a relatively slow night, so we'll catch up with the guys in the morning.
Alright guys, we got about 10 minutes left of shooting light. Camera light's definitely fading fast, so we had a little 8, which is actually the same 8 that's been running with this nice 9 that wraps around in front. And he got me excited hoping that he'd come through, and that little 8 always comes through before that 9, so we might still see him yet here in the last 10 minutes, but other than that, we've only seen 2 does and they were off a little ways, so warm tonight definitely subdued the movement, but we're going to stick after it. If we see anything else tonight, we'll definitely bring it to you, but we'll be right back out here again soon, so stick with us. We're not done yet.
That concludes the night. We didn't see a dang thing.
Well, overall, it was a pretty fun night for the first sit of the year. We actually had better movement than I anticipated with the warmer temperatures and the full moon. Ended up seeing 7 different bucks, and we had 3 does and fawns. Oldest buck was a 3-year-old 10 with short tines, the last one that came out. But they really seemed to be liking Nebraska as they were sparring out here. Just very fun show right up here, up close and personal. The other guys all had pretty slow hunts. We'll be back out tomorrow afternoon. And if we don't get it done this weekend, we'll be looking forward to that cold front later in the week. But we'll see you guys tomorrow night.
It was one fawn.
One little fawn with spots.
One little fawn that loved to jump around.
Let's go home and eat dinner with Mommy and your brothers and sisters.
Yes, please.
Hey, it's Matt Thede with Outreach Outdoor Show, Midwest Whitetail. One of the things I think is really important, or probably a lot of dads are in my situation, is really learning how to set up a youth bow, and what do we do for practice that allows a kid to shoot successfully when a deer happens to walk in front of them. I think we've all gone through, as bow hunters, like target panic, buck fever, whatever in the stand, and we get really, really nervous. And sometimes that can be really compounding when it's a youth hunter who's excited just for their first deer in the woods. I don't want this to sound self-serving or prideful when I say this, but one of the things I was really excited about last year was when my kids were in the bow stand. And when they were in the bow stand, I noticed when they shot their 2 deer that when they drew back, they really held their draw, focused their pin, and didn't get super, super nervous from the standpoint that they released the arrow right away, that they really settled the pin and released the arrow the right way with correct form. And that was something I was really proud of. And that's what we practice in our basement over and over again. And so sometimes the kids want to get out and shoot outside and see how far they can shoot. We spend a ton of time right now in the basement at 3 yards, just really focusing on correct form and mechanics and getting that done right. So I actually want to take some time and show you how we do that. So if you have a son or a daughter that really wants to get into bow hunting and you're kind of wondering what do you do to help them to be successful, I'm not sure this is like the tried and true way that all the professionals would recommend, but I can tell you this is what we have done just for the average dad out there and setting up a bow. We're gonna head to the basement. I'm actually gonna get my 2 boys. I'm gonna actually show you how to set up and adjust the draw length, because I have to adjust the draw length on my older son. And we're gonna go ahead and set up, and I'm gonna show you exactly what we do for starting. The great part about this bow is you don't have to put it on a bow press. You simply just loosen these screws on the cams, and you go ahead and make your adjustments. And so I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like right now. He's set for 25-inch draw right now. So let's go ahead and lengthen it out maybe like to 26 inches and start there. So there's the 25 inches. You can see the little tiny arrow that's pointing straight to the 25-inch mark, and we'll just loosen up those screws right there and go ahead and make the adjustments on both sides. So we're going to move that to 26. And this takes about 1 minute to adjust about. So not too bad. And then we'll go ahead and try to have him draw back again. So he should be able to get behind the jawbone and then just touch his nose to the string, and it looks like that's about perfect, isn't it, buddy? Arms relatively straight, got a little bit of room. All right, we're gonna go ahead and let it down. All right, we're gonna go downstairs and then work on our sights and adjustments. One of the things that we're gonna do here is we just come down here, and this is kind of our room. They're gonna stand 3 yards back. And one of the first things that we're gonna do is Maddox is gonna stand there, and he's gonna do what I call, not necessarily a blind draw, but really he's not focusing on anything to aim at besides just making sure that the arrow goes into the target. And so he's gonna draw back, and he's really just gonna focus on, I'm gonna lock my thumb around that thumb release. He likes to use a thumb release. And then he's just gonna start pushing with the front hand and slowly pulling with the back hand. And that pressure of that trigger going into his thumb is gonna cause it to go ahead and release. And it's gonna be what we call a surprise release. The same concept happens with the trigger release. And we wanna go ahead and lock that finger around the trigger once we get ready to shoot, and then slowly start pushing and pulling until we get what we call a surprise release. The biggest problem we see with kids, or even adults that for that matter, is we want to control when that goes off sometimes. So sometimes we punch that trigger and we get what we call target panic, and the arrow doesn't always go where we want it to go. The same thing with the thumb. If we punch it with the thumb, it releases and it doesn't necessarily always go where we want to go, and it causes target panic. We're gonna get Maddox back in here, and we're gonna go ahead and draw, and we're just gonna show you exactly what we do, and we'll get started and go from there. So here's our first step, and kind of the blind draw, surprise release form. All right, so Maddox is gonna go ahead and draw back. We got him to the correct draw length. He's gonna lock it behind his jaw. We're not gonna necessarily worry about aiming as much as that the arrow is gonna go in there, and he's just gonna lock his thumb around the trigger, and then slowly start pushing and pulling until it goes off. And you can see by replay that his hand really shot back once he released it. So why don't you grab the arrow and let's do it again, buddy. And we've shot this spot many times, so. All right, so we have Brooks in here, and he's now gonna be using his finger release, or trigger release, and so he's gonna go ahead and do the same thing. So Brooks is gonna go ahead and draw back, and then he's gonna go ahead and lock his finger around the actual trigger once he's kind of on the target. And at that point, then he's just gonna go ahead and lock his finger and slowly start pushing and pulling and go from there. So go ahead, Brooksy. And he's gonna go ahead and make sure he's on the target. He's gonna slowly lock his finger around once he's on the target, and then lock it. He's gonna slowly start pulling, and boom, it really goes off in a surprise fashion. So once we've done that for maybe a week or so and shooting about 10 shots per night, then we go ahead and we have them start really burning a hole with their pin. And so what I do is I actually take the pin and get it sighted in, so that's gonna make sure to hit where we want it to hit about 10 yards. And then we come back in here, and I've actually taken a little piece of, the boys like to use a little piece of like tin foil, and they like to put that exactly where they want to aim. And so we put that into a little hole above there, and then they aim for that piece, and then they should be hitting right into that center every single time. And so now the concept is, I understand what a surprise release is. I have a good correct form every single time. My dad's helping me out with the form. And then now what we can do is we want to go ahead and take that pin, look through the peep sight, burn a hole in that sight, or burn a hole in that little tinfoil piece right here, and burn a hole in it and just start pushing and pulling as I'm burning a hole and trying to keep that on there and let it dance on that silver thing, and then boom, it'll go off. And then the arrow usually finds itself up in the dead center every single time. So I'll bring the boys back in and we'll do this next step and go from there. This time he's gonna aim at the silver thing above. He's gonna burn a hole in the target, and then he's gonna put his thumb on it when he's ready, and then slowly, slowly, slowly burn a hole, and then squeeze, 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 until it goes off, and should have went right in the dead center. Okay, so we're out here, a little windy, but we're gonna drop back 5 yards from this target, and the boys are gonna go ahead and now put everything that they've done in the basement to use. So we probably spend a couple weeks in the basement before we go outside. So we're gonna go ahead and go back to 5 yards and let them shoot a couple times, and then go back to 10 yards and let them shoot a couple times, and just kind of see where we're at. Surprise release. Awesome. So hey, just to recap a couple different things with getting the kids out and shooting bows successfully. So number one, it's super fun just to get your kids involved, all right? And the Hoyt Fire Shot is a great asset for us. It's super flexible in the sense that it took us about a minute to adjust the draw lengths on both cams, and it's easily adjustable poundage right here as well, just like any bow. And so great tool to get the kids involved and help them be successful. Second aspect of that is getting them the correct form in our 3-step process that we use at our household. It's not magical, it's not even taken from the pros online or YouTube, it's just what we do to have success. And so I think the easy part is number one, getting them with proper form to release an arrow so that they don't have target panic. And that is, don't have them focus on anything on the target other than that the arrow is going to go into the target, and get that surprise release down. No punching the trigger, but surprise release down. Second thing is add in a visual with their pin so that they can burn a hole in that target and really, really strengthen that lead arm so they can get that burn a hole, and then push, pull, and then surprise release into the target. And then the third thing is get them outside and start them at five steps, and then go ahead and start working back to 10 yards and then up to 15 yards if you can. So for my 12-year-old, 15 to 20 yards is gonna be no problem. For my 8-year-old, it's gonna be about 10 yards. And you can see from some of the results that this is our first time shooting outside in a while. So we've been sitting in the basement. We really need to work on our form and get them comfortable. And I always say if they can hit a pie plate if they can hit about a 6 to 8 inch circle at 10 to 15 yards consistently, then they're ready to go hunt. And that's the way they were last year. We have a little bit of practicing to do this year before we can actually get out, but season's right around the corner in a couple weeks. I hope this was helpful to dads. I hope this gives you a sense of, hey, yes, I think I can go out and do this. I have an idea now how to help my kids with bow hunting, and maybe some tools to help you with target panic if your son has target panic. But I really appreciate you watching. Hopefully it was helpful. Matt Thede with Outreach Outdoor Show, Midwest Whitetail.